his early attempts to preserve the vitality of an amputated pulp were made. According to his early attempts to preserve the vitality of an amputated pulp were made by Whittaker in 1886, Preisberg in 1900, and Fischer in 1912. In 1924, Leonard reported highly satisfactory results following pulpotomy in selected cases using his techniques for over 20 years, that is right from 1924. A few years New Wirth experimented on teeth of dogs, the pulp of which had been amputated coronally and covered with the non-irritating agents including dentin dust. He found no pathological changes in any of the specimens examined. He found no pathological changes in any of the specimens examined. His findings were confirmed by Hellner in 1930 and noted that dentin shavings dropped upon pulp tissue from the burr also produced a regional pulp calcification. Dentin shavings dropped upon pulp tissue from the burr also produced a regional pulp calcification. Similar findings were recorded by Priebly in 1931. On the other hand, Rebel observed secondary reparative dentin formation following pulpotomy, but interpreted the presence of the osteoid due to metaplasia of the pulp. Rebel observed secondary reparative dentin formation following pulpotomy, but interpreted the presence of osteoid due to metaplasia of the pulp. In 1933, Gottlieb, Orban, and Steen obtained apical calcification in every case when experimenting on animals. They incorporated up to 50% of dentin dust in an oxyphosphate cement and used it on contact with amputated pulp. In 1934, Lowenstein reported from 60 to 70% success in a series of 37 cases of pulp amputation, while Novikov in 1935 reported 16 cases of pulpotomy in children with age ranging from 7 to 10 years with failure. In 1938, Hess, who had considerable experience with performing pulpotomies, reported that about 80% of cases showed complete walling of the pulp. 80% of the cases showed complete walling of the pulp stump. Complete walling of the pulp stump with a calcific barrier. Finally, in 1938, Tusker and Zander provided us with experimental results on the use of a paste of calcium hydroxide to cover amputated pulps rather than using dentin dust. Histological section of selected cases showed formation of secondary preparative dentin over the pulp stump and maintenance of pulp vitality. The actual reported technique of pulpotomy using calcium hydroxide was discovered by Zander and Law in 1942. The actual reported technique of pulpotomy using calcium hydroxide was described by Zander and Law in 1942, and histological evidence of repair with formation of new layer of odontoblasts and a secondary irregular dentin barrier has been given by Zander and Glass in 1949, and histological evidence of repair with formation of a new layer of odontoblasts and histological evidence of repair with the formation of a new layer of odontoblasts and a secondary irregular dentin barrier has been given by Zander and Glass in 1949. Historically, the most effective capping material has been calcium hydroxide. You can see in the figure 5. The earliest reference to this material is attributed to Nigel in 1838. The earliest reference to this material is attributed to Nigel in 1838. You can see the figure 5. Exposure. This is the figure 5. Exposure 8 weeks after capping with calcium hydroxide. You can see here A indicates site of exposure and B indicates dentinal walls and C indicates remnants of necrotic area and D indicates zone of demarcation and primitive dentin and F indicates D indicates the zone of demarcation and primitive dentin and E indicates new dentin barrier and F indicates continuous odontoblastic layer and G indicates vital pulp, right? G indicates vital pulp. This is extracted from Grossman L root canal therapy. This is extracted from Grossman L root canal therapy, 2nd edition. The development of this material, that is calcium hydroxide, for routine use clinically with substantial histologic data is attributed to Hermann in 1930 and Zander in 1939. Eastlick recommended it for use with exposure